What up, everybody? Scuff D here, and we got ourselves a little update today. I'm gonna be trying to get some stuff done this weekend. It's been a long week. It's been a busy week. I'm just taking a look at my phone so I can scroll up the updates from Discord. We can kind of go over those. I really want to talk about those tonight because that was a surprise when I woke up, and at the same time, kind of one of those surprises where you're like, I thought it would be a new car, but it's a bill. Not great. It wasn't terrible. I mean, I am underselling this update a little bit. It's not fantastic. I think we're talking about 8 cards here that have been changed. So there are some changes. But there's also some news and announcements. So this is kind of a get it all together update video, if you will, Friday night. Getting it done. Hopefully get this edited and uploaded tomorrow. I also have got, just for those of you who have been following the World Cup USA North American qualifiers, I'm still in it. I've got my first couple of rounds to upload, and I've got to edit those and get those up there as well. I want to share those out with everybody. Whether I'm in it or not, I plan on covering the World Cup as best as I possibly can, and I just need the time to get everything together. Also, I've got a couple deck lists that I want to do and showcase some warlords I've been having a lot of fun with. You can look forward to those coming soon. Neutral warlords. I think one of them is a player request, but they're neutral warlords, so if that helps perk your interest any, stick around or keep an eye out on the channel. And if you haven't already liked and subscribe and then like the videos that you like, subscribe to the channel, or let people know if you haven't already done so. Let's talk about these updates, shall we? So like I said, there's about 8 cards here that have been updated. First off, the announcement. Boy, man, I'll tell you, the announcement said Imperial Army, and I was really looking forward to Desperate Defense. I don't know about you guys, but that was like, oh, it's got to be Desperate Defense, right? It's about time. This card is one of those cards where I could do a whole bit, 15-20 minutes, talking about Desperate Defense. There are pros and cons to it, but it really has shaped and wrapped a lot of decks to the point where it's not productive for the game. It's not beneficial. But that wasn't the case. That wasn't the card. We're not even going to go there. So just never mind. It wasn't Desperate Defense. Wake up, it's Imperial Army. Guess what? It's Malgador's Observer. That's right. That was the card that got changed. This card cost 5, and now it costs 4. That's it. I mean, to be fair, I think it actually now targets a non-warlord enemy, and before it just targeted a troop. I could be wrong on that. It might have already had the non-warlord ability, and then they just lower the cost to 5, or from 5 to 4. So, Triumph of Olenor, that's another hot card that a lot of people are using. This now has a reduction when any troop dies. Before, this was just when an enemy troop dies, you reduce this cost by 1. So this is a little bit more beneficial if you're facing a mono warlord. But I'll be honest with you, Triumph of Olenor typically only shows up in events. It does not show up in normal ladder play. It just doesn't. There's other decks that do +1/+1 much better. There's warlords who do +1/+1 much better. Close Call. Now, this is one that I'm interested in. I won't deny it. Close Call is 2 energy. Return a friendly damaged troop to your hand and draw a card. Before, it was return it to your deck. So now you draw it to you return it to your hand. That actually isn't bad if you are building a specific deck. And there's only one that I can think of, and it's with the White Scars. And it's really doubling down or exemplifying on stuff with the Gabosh veterans. That's the only thing I can think of here with that card that can really make use of it. And you have to build the deck for that one specific role. And then also compliance, as far as the Imperial Army goes, compliance gained, draw a troop from your deck. So after you reduce the cost of all Imperial Army troops, you get to draw one. which is nice. That gives it a little bit of something that it didn't have before. For 4 energy, for a 4 energy epic, that's okay. I still don't think we're going to see compliance get paid a whole lot. Get played a whole lot, I should say. I mean, you might see some payoff from it, but you're not going to get the same. Advanced Schematics, which is a rare, does not draw a troop, but it reduces the cost of all mechanical troops. So you can kind of line these cards up side by side. Same cost, same benefit for the faction. But because one is an epic, it also draws you a troop. So that's the trade-off there. So rarity matters. Will the card see use? I don't know. Maybe for Latara, maybe for Lucretia, maybe for Fail. But beyond that, I don't know. I don't think so. Now, the Sons of Horus did receive a couple of cards that got updated, one of which is it's a solid buff. Surgur Targhost, before he had 2 energy, give a Mark of Chaos to your starting troops. This is now a relentless ability, and he's got Drop Pod. So unless you get rid of him on your turn, on your like if your opponent plays Surgur Targhost, you have got a turn to get rid of him, or he is going to start getting nasty. Regardless of whether or not your opponent has got other Astartes troops on the board, he's going to gain Marks of Chaos. And the Marks of Chaos, as we know, get stronger. They're actually stat buffs. He could get a Mark of Nurgle, and all of a sudden he's got 10 health. He could get Terror and +1 attack. He could get +1/+1 and become a 6/8. This is a great legendary. This is an amazing buff, and if you're playing Sons of Horus, or you're thinking about playing Sons of Horus, I would honestly say Targhost is way better than Malgahurst at this point. For 5 energy, he forces the outflank, he forces the hard removal option, and if your opponent cannot answer that, they're going to have a monster on their hand. Plus, you can continue to throw down more things on there. If you have Targhost in your deck and you really want to be nasty, then you can throw down like an escape vent on him after he's attacked, so he can gain a second Mark of Chaos, or Underhive Tunnels. That's really cool. I really like that. That's an unasked for but welcome change. The Punisher had its health increased to 12, which is really, really gnarly, had this ability changed to 2 to deal 10 damage, which is insane. That's it. That's okay. I mean, look, we'll just rank it up there. I mean, in terms of what this card does, for 4 plasma, you deal 10 at 10 energy, or for 2 energy at 9 energy, you deal 10 damage with the Punisher. The difference is the Graviton can be taken off with 10 damage. This guy has got 12, but is susceptible to things like Melt-A-Bomb and other hard removal options, right? Flank attacks and stuff like that. So a little bit of juggling, but in actual scope, it just puts the Punisher up. Now, does anybody play with the Punisher? No. Are they going to? Maybe. I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to. But in certain builds, desperate defense builds, or if you're playing with supply lines for the card draw just to get with a Valak or a Punisher, and you're able to put Punisher down at 7 energy after your opponent has already used their hard removal on Targhost and Malgahurst, yeah, you're going to be looking pretty good. This is going to come off pretty nice. And at 10 energy, because you play this at 9, or you play it at 7, you pay 2, you deal 10, and then you finish it up with another 8, and you play the Vengeful Spirit, and you deal 8, and that's 18 damage. It has potential. I don't think it's going to see a lot. It's very slow. I'm not saying go out and do this, but I'm just saying consider it. It is now an option. Whereas before, when this cost 4 to do 10, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. At least for lower tier play, I think this is going to be a suitable enhancement. So props there. Now, the big change that a lot of people are frothing at the mouth over, when I say a lot, I mean that's like 20 or 30 people I've seen post the same thing on Discord, is the Eschaton Imperative. Now, there's some interesting thing here to note. First off, Eschaton Imperative now no longer reduces the cost of all your Dark Angels troops by 2 for each unit killed. It's by 1, but it's also a troop. So this can affect neutral troops in your hand. It also is for each unit killed, lower the cost of a troop. So like before the old Eschaton Imperative, if you used Eschaton Imperative and you killed 3 troops, all of your Dark Angel troops would be -6. Now, if you kill 3 troops with Eschaton Imperative, you get a -1, and then a -1, and then a -1. And those apply to 3 different random troops. They might apply to the same one, they might not. So much lower on the reduction, the cost reduction. However, the damage remains the same. I'll be honest, it's not going to change the way I play Dark Angels, because typically when I play Eschaton, I've only got 1 or 2 troops in my hand anyways, so it's not huge for me. But I do like it as a better, more consistent, reliable defensive satellites. I prefer this over defensive satellites just because I know I'm going to get 2 minimum as opposed to 1 minimum. So there's that. Now, I played with this today, tested it out, and this is something that you need to know to take into account. If you have troops in your hand that already have their cost at 0, whether that's from an abandoned supplies or from an Israel or something like that, their already cost is 0, and you play Eschaton Imperative, it is possible that the -1 goes to that 0 cost troop and does not go to the troops that cost full. I don't know yet if that is an issue with the card or if that is designed to work that way. Because, like for instance, obviously you can play abandoned supplies into tactical brilliance or escape vent, and the card still costs 0, you lose out, right? But these are cards that are already in your hand, and unlike other random targeting that applies when it's on the board, if your opponent's got troops at 1 health and you do 4 1 random pings, each of those troops is going to take 1 die, and then they can't be targeted again. They're on the board, so it works differently. Should it work the same way in your hand? I don't know. So keep your eye on that, because that might change a little bit, but that is an important factor to keep in mind, because I was expecting to have a -3 go off of one of my only full cost troop, and instead 2 of those -1s went on the 0 troop, and then I only had 1 -1 on my troop, and that was like, disappointed. So just something to know. Overall, I think this is a fine change. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything against me. There was a lot of people who already didn't like this card. They can feel like they got a win. I think they're still going to lose out to what Dark Angels do best anyways. This card was just kind of like a, hey, you made a bad play. You put a lot of cards out that cost 2 health. You can still make a bad play and lose them with Eschaton Imperative, but you're really losing to cards like Astravel, Romiel, Decor. Those are the cards that win you the game if you're Dark Angels. It's not Eschaton Imperative. It really isn't. I can tell you that. And then last but not least, the Hera Technica of the Mechanicum. This card here was changed, and this card was, where is it at? Hera Technica. Where did you go? I just rolled past it, guys. I know I did. It's got a beautiful picture. Is it Chaos? That's why. It's Chaos. There it is. There it is. Hera Technica. Give a mark of chaos to all your Mechanicum non-demon troops and draw a card. Wow. That's a big change, because before this card was just discard all of your tactics. It was one of the few cards in the game that actually punished you, discarding all your cards to give a +1/+1 to a vehicle. Very, very fun card to play with White Scars. Very useful for them late game. Very important for certain builds. One certain build. This opens it up for a lot of different cards options, actually. Hera Technica. By mark, this is for, you give a mark of chaos to all of your Mechanicum troops. So if you're already playing Ingethel, and she plays with Mechanicum stuff, and she's got Death of Innocence, right? Which is giving them a mark of chaos when they put into play, and then she gives them a mark of chaos on her own, and then she plays this card here to give them all a mark of chaos. If you've got 3 Mechanicum troops on board, they all get marks of chaos, and then you're drawing a card. That's powerful. This is a really solid buff. And it doesn't just affect vehicles. It affects all Mechanicum non-demon troops. And just so you know, there is a demon Mechanicum troop. It is just Telemot. As far as I'm aware, this is the only one that exists currently. And that's one thing that I thought was very interesting, was the wording of that. I thought that was very interesting that the wording of that was non-demon troops, because maybe we'll see some more Mechanicum demons or demon vehicles to come, right? It's possible. It's possible. But by comparison, so Hera Technica has 3 energy for all Mechanicum troops, whereas something like this is Mark of Chaos gives 2 Mark of Chaos to 1 troop, or where is it? Triumph of Chaos is 5 energy to give a Mark of Chaos to your non-demon troops. This is a common, but for 2 less energy, you get a little bit more specific, and you're able to give all the Mechanicum. That's just, you can't line these up side by side and not say that this is a great card. This is better for those decks that are playing Mechanicum and want a little bit of extra boost, especially with the way that the Marks of Chaos have been buffed lately. This is a good card. This is going in a couple of my decks, for sure. And it's coming out of my White Scars deck. It's coming on my White Scars deck, but it's going in a couple other decks, so that's a win. So we'll take that. We'll take that. So those are the card updates. Now, overall, I don't know if anybody, aside from Eschaton Imperative, I don't recall seeing any comments, feedback, complaints, whatever, for people asking for any of these cards to be changed the way that they were changed. And I think that's the biggest issue I have, because the things that have been asked or have been stated are, hey, these are problematic, or these are really tiring to the meta. There's a certain faction that still has a couple things that could be changed with it. There's, as I said, Desperate Defense. There's cards that could get changed, and those didn't even get touched or mentioned. And none of those cards play into those builds at all. Right? Like Eschaton Imperative, you could say might be, but really, as I said, it's really not what wins the game for Dark Angels. It really isn't. Yeah, so I don't know. As far as the patch goes, I mean, they changed cards, and some of these cards are much better than they were before. By comparison with power creep, with the increase of how the game has gone, there's no denying that. But I don't know if it's the patch that we wanted. It's not the patch that you wanted. It's the patch you deserve. It's the patch you need. I don't know if it's the patch we need or not, but it's what we got. Where is she? That's what I'm hearing in my head right now. Where is she? So, I don't know, guys. Yeah, so that's the updates. That's what happened today. Now, we also have got this new event with a new warlord, a new Night Lord's warlord, which is really cool. I'm not a huge fan of his ability, but the Night Lords are kind of looking a little strong. I think the Dark Angels have still got some tactics, and I think the cards winning here, between these 2 cards, between Traitor's Demise and Subjugation, I like Subjugation more. I do. Traitor's Demise, though, is actually really solid, except for the fact that it's to an enemy troop. Both of these cards actually are decent counters to high-cost cards without being hard removal, right? They're not destroy. They are either give a can attack and draw a card, buys you a little bit of time, or just deal a bunch of damage, right? So, yeah, that's got potential. Those both have potential. So we've got that new event coming on. We've got the World Cup qualifiers still taking place this month. I'm going to be talking about this patch with some other players on the Warp Chatter podcast. That is, we're doing that recording tomorrow night. And that will be up every Thursday. Every Thursday, the new episodes of the Warp Chatter podcast are out. We're on episode 12. I've been doing it for 3 months. I really appreciate the feedback. Keep hitting the listen button to it. Let me know where you're listening to it at. Where are you checking out at? Is it here on the channel? Do you have a podcast player app that you use more often? I don't yet have it on the Apple Store, but it is on most other listening platforms, Spotify, Podbean, Google Podcast, FM Player, iHeartRadio. It's out there, and I hope more people continue to listen to it. We've got that going on. We've got the dev Q&A that takes place on Monday. And I'm 99% sure that that's going to be the announcement for when the date is going to be for the Sons of Horus to take place. So when that happens, or not Sons of Horus, the Siege, I should say, Siege with the Imperial Fists. I'm looking at Horus, and I'm thinking Sons of Horus. The Imperial Fists take place, and I'm going in, baby. I am set. My gold is locked and loaded. I'm ready. I'm going to be probably just doing some stupid stuff when it comes time for that faction to debut. And so you can look forward to that. And I can look forward to bringing it to you. That's really what I've got going on. That's it. That's my updates for you guys. I hope you keep tuning in because, like I said, I've got about 3 or 4 videos I'm recording this weekend to release throughout the next week or two. Can't release them all out the same day. YouTube algorithm doesn't like that. Help me beat YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so, guys, or recommend it to somebody else. I really do ask that. If that's possible, if you know some players in your lodge or community out here in global chat, let them know. Point them the way. Head them over here if these videos have been useful or helpful. And let me know. Like, subscribe, comment. What do you want to see? Are there any other play requests? Some of these deck videos I've got coming up are going to be play request videos. I am working on those, and I do have to do the card by cards for the neutrals. My first one is going to be part 1 of the Imperial Army, and I'm going to do cost 0 through 3, including the warlords in that one. So we're going to cover that, and then we're going to break it up into part 2 because the neutral card pool is just so large. And these videos take a long time to do. I think that's just the best way for me to do it. So, all that said and done, it is Friday night. Got some stuff to get done. I want to thank you guys for checking in and checking out. And let me know what you think about the updates. How are you feeling about them? Were any of these ones that you were like, oh, thank God, I've been riding to every guild for ages on that card? Or are you like me and the majority of people I've talked to who are just like, Malcador's Observer? Okay. Literally no one. Nothing. Every guild, Malcador's Observer. -1 cost. Here you go. It's our gift to you. It's our gift to you on your wedding day. I can't do it, Godfather. I really have to get in the mood to do it. On the Dunker. A Sicilian can now refuse a request on his daughter's wedding day. I don't know if that came through really good or not. I feel like I could have done better. Alright. It's late for me, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
In America, no tricks at the wheel. No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonas I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. In America, Johnny wants a brain. Johnny wants to suck on the coke. Johnny wants a woman. Johnny wants to think of a joke. was ever coming.